So this is something that's come up from time to time, and I've mentioned it a few videos back, but I wanted to elaborate on it. But quickly before I get into the video, just a quick plug for Barbell Apparel. I'm wearing their Stealth hoodie right now. It's perfect material to wear in like the early spring when it's not cold anymore, and you don't need a full sweatshirt, but not really warm enough to wear a t-shirt outside. It's high quality shit. Hit the link in the description if you could use one. So 0 reps in reserve is not the same as training to failure. When you're training to 0 reps in reserve, that means you rack the bar when you finish a rep and you cannot complete an additional rep. Failure is 0 reps in reserve, but 0 reps in reserve is not failure. This distinction matters because training relies on the relationship between stimulus and fatigue. Training to 0 RIR is very fatiguing, but you can perform 2 consecutive sets with similar loads, albeit the second set will likely be lighter in order to complete the same number of reps, or you'll complete a few less reps if you use the same load, but you can perform another high quality working set if you don't fail. If you fail, like actually fail, like you get stapled under the bar, you're not able to perform another real working set after that. The cost of that failed set is much higher than if you were to rack the bar at 0 reps in reserve. If you're a well-trained individual and you're using large absolute loads, relative loads matter too, don't get me wrong, but high absolute loads contribute to fatigue, I think, to a greater degree for strong people. But if you're strong and you're using heavy weights and you perform a set to failure, you probably aren't training that movement pattern again at a high intensity for at least 72 hours. And 72 hours might even be optimistic. And I'm not opposed to training to failure. I actually think it's a good thing, but it's good sparingly. The other point here, and that's why I'm generally not a proponent of programming sets for more than 12 reps with some exceptions, and that's still probably too high for my preference, and also why I'm not a proponent of using loads lighter than 70%, and 70% is still probably too light for my preference. I'd even say like 73, 74%, is our ability to gauge RIR drops the more reps we perform in a given set, and the lighter the weight we use. This meta-analysis on the screen here found that prediction accuracy regarding RIR improves when the predictions were made when the number of reps performed to failure was lower than 12 reps. Probably because the muscles being trained don't go through as much gradual discomfort, just inching you towards wanting to cut the set. You use a weight you can only do 8 reps with. By rep 6, you kind of know where you stand. If you do a set that you can do 12 reps with, by rep 10, you've probably experienced some variability in bar speed, some up and some down, and are just less accurate in terms of gauging RIR. In terms of bar speed, you're not just going to see a gradual decrease. So this brings me to my last point, which is why I think VBT is necessary if you're a serious trainee. Get an OVR, get a Vitruve unit, get some objective data with what bar speed correlates to how many reps in reserve you have for each exercise. Obviously, you still need to think about what you're doing and how you're feeling when you're lifting. That part of the human experience matters, especially in training when a significant chunk of why we train is to experience physical hardship and linking our psychology with our physiology. But the stronger you get, the more advanced you get, the more precision does matter to elicit the last few adaptations you can. And using some objective data like bar speed to align with what you perceive as your final rep in the tank can go a long way in regulating your training frequency and your recoverability. If you enjoy training and care about training like I do, I want to partake in it as frequently and as effectively as possible. I don't want it to be a guessing game all the time, and I don't want to overshoot and ruin a session 2 days from now. I also don't want to sandbag it and leave too much in the tank. That's my little rant. I appreciate your time listening to it. See you next video.